morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar for today. I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Chukwuka Ombolu, and I'm a cloud consultant, cybersecurity analyst, and also a DevOps engineer. I've been into the tech space for close to, let's say, 7+ years now, and I'll be your host for today. We also have Kenneth Osim. Please, can you please introduce yourself?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kenneth. I am so many things when it comes to tech. For this event, I am somebody who is passionate about learning and also seeing how I can help other people. I have been within the tech space for a while now.
Okay.
I've worked on so many projects, and these projects could be DevOps related projects. It could be using Prince2, the native Prince2.
Okay.
And I'm very excited to be here. I'm excited to get any questions from other people here and see how I can assist and give insights.
Thank you, Kenneth. And we also have one of our colleague here, Fiafia. And can you please introduce yourself, Fiafia?
Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Beleko. I'm a product designer, and I'm passionate about how user interacts with products and how to sustain the products in the market, and ensuring that products are designed are not only focused on a signal demography, but the east underserved. And what do I mean by that? Are people that have been marginalized. I have a decade of experience in tech, and that's spanning through software development, graphics design, quality assurance, and of course, product design. So the end goal is eventually becoming a product owner, a product manager. So I hope I can able to share my few insights or little insights about the journey as a product designer.
Okay, thank you, Fiafia, for that. So we'll be dividing this section into 3 different sections. We have 10 minutes. I'll be going into cybersecurity and cloud, just a brief overview. We have another 10 minutes where Kenneth will be going into, I'll be going to cybersecurity and AIs. Kenneth will go into discussing on cloud and DevOps, while Fiafia will be taking us on UI, UX, and product design. So this is a continuation of our previous section where we asked why tech. So we had a section some time ago where we were talking about why do you want to go into technology. And this is a higher version of it, getting into the digital technology space. So without wasting much time, I will start by talking about why digital technology. So recently, there's a growing demand for tech professionals. That's for key industry tech professionals in the space of AI, cybersecurity, UI, UX, and DevOps, and different other clouds or different other technology stacks that we have out there. So we have different environments whereby people want to go into the technology space. So we're going to talk about some of these key technology space and how we can actually guide us to go into them. So for technology space, apart from having it as a career path, it's not just a career path. It's actually it's more of a kind of technology space that has endless possibilities. When I say endless possibilities, I'm talking about you taking it as something that can actually evolve to different parts. For example, a DevOps engineer can actually evolve developing artificial intelligence, machine learning, evolve into, let's say, a UI UX engineer, evolve into different areas. So you see that in digital technology, different people actually venture into different skills, different occupations. You might get employed as, let's say, DevOps engineer, and in your company, you're going to start facing different different career paths. So the digital technology landscape is fast and very fast growing and forever evolving. So each of these career opportunities, we have different levels for beginners, for intermediates, for high level. And for AI is revolutionizing how we live, how we work, how we do so many things, automation, data analysis, how we make our decisions, how we do almost everything these days is evolved around artificial intelligence. Now, with more data bits being stored online, and we have the need for security measures. So that is where cybersecurity actually come into place to actually secure most of our data. Now, we also have most of our data also stored in the cloud. So that is where cloud computing comes in, and we have different career pathways that you can actually choose to go into. Now, I will start with cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is basically securing your data in the cloud. Securing your data with different security measures to protect your systems, your networks, your data from cyber threats, such as hackers, malware, ransomware. And cybersecurity have some core principles. When you're talking about cybersecurity or security in general, you're talking about confidentiality, ensuring that your sensitive data can only be accessed to authorized individuals. We have integrity, protecting data from being altered or tampered by unauthorized users. We have availability, ensuring that they are readily available. We have authorization, we have authentications, and so many other core principles that cybersecurity is built on. And some of the key areas for cybersecurity, we have network security, that's protecting your network from intrusion and ensuring your data is transmitted securely. We have intrusion detection systems, which was one of the few AIs I've developed, actually combining AI with cybersecurity. And also we have use of virtual private networks. That's what we all know as VPN. Application security is there, cloud security is there, endpoint security is there, incident response, compliance, and risk management. There are different roles for someone that wants to get into cybersecurity. We have security analysts, we have security engineer, we have penetration tester, we have cloud security specialist, we have security consultant, and we have SOC, that's security operations center analysts. There are different skills you can also learn with cybersecurity. You have encryption and cryptography, as mastering how data is protected. We have firewalls and intrusion detection, intrusion prevention. You can learn some of those skills. You can learn ethical hacking. You can learn security policies. You can also learn about compliance, and so many other skills are there for somebody that is going into cloud computing to learn. So I've talked about cybersecurity, and for machine learning is basically working with automations, working with AIs, working with different algorithms to actually automate some few features. So for now, I'll also talk about career opportunities for artificial intelligence. You have AI research scientists, machine learning engineer, data scientists, AI product managers, and you can learn skills like Python, algorithm, you can learn your C#, you can learn PyTorch, and so many other skills that you can learn with AI. And lastly, I'll also talk about some other skills that you can also learn using AI. When it comes to AI, you also need to learn mathematics. Mathematics is also something that you kind of face when you're going into AI. You have to learn natural language processing. You have to learn ethics, because AI ethics is also there for you to integrate into society. You need to understand the ethical implications of developing a robust AI system. So I'll be stopping here for my colleague Kenneth to take over on cloud computing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shooks, for taking our time to explain that. Before I go ahead to talk about cloud computing, I know we are being repetitive because our last session we talked about most of these technologies, but however, we are trying to put more emphasis on this because we know a lot of tech enthusiasts out there want to learn this, but most of the time they hear other people saying cybersecurity, cloud computing, UI, UX, product design. However, you jump in and start learning what you are basically not supposed to learn. You end up starting out something, and then a few months down the line, you discover that it's really not what you want. It doesn't resonate with you, and then you move to something else. So we are taking our time to explain this further to give more perspective so that you know what it entails. Just like how Chuk said that if you're doing cybersecurity, then you should be very good with mathematics because you then have to deal with algorithms, you deal with complex
APIs.
APIs, and then imagine you trying to combat a security threat with somebody who is an hacker that can do reverse engineering on a particular system, and you think being a cybersecurity specialist is just to run antivirus on a server environment or a PC. So you have to think differently to combat this threats in a complex environment. So now let's talk about cloud computing. This is something that has been out there for a couple of years now, and we've seen so many vendors come up, like AWS, who kind of like started first, and we have Microsoft Azure that came later but picked up very fast. And due to the fact that a lot of businesses were already using Microsoft products, it was easier to integrate the new Microsoft Azure then to their already existing business applications. And then you have GCP, which is the Google platform that people and a lot of companies are also using for cloud environments. Now, if you really ask yourself, so what exactly do they do on this cloud? So let me break it down. So traditionally, you want to deploy an application or you want to run workloads, you then have to look for a hosting provider. That's if you don't want to do it on your own platform. Let's say you buy a server and then you do all these implementations, and then you are at home and you get a call saying your infrastructure caught fire, or somebody calling you to say your website is not working, and they have to rush to the office and start troubleshooting stuff and so on. But it is a little bit different. So I'm explaining this in a layman term so you really understand what I'm saying. So but in the cloud, instead of you going to go and buy the infrastructure, start to do the security and the cooling and everything, you just basically go to a vendor, maybe an AWS, for instance, and then you go there to say, and this, it can be self-service, you can do this yourself, or you can leverage an MSP, and then you provision everything you need to do at that same time. You don't have to spend days or months trying to get that sorted out. Now, within the cloud providers, you have different types of resources for different niches. So, for example, if you just want to save your data, let's say your company has so many files run everywhere in cabinets, and you want to move this to a secure location so that in case there's any fire, you don't have to worry about that. Then you can maybe get things like storage accounts where you move all your physical files and upload them to the cloud. Or let's say you have users. So traditionally, you create users, and then in your local Active Directory that's running your company premises, and then you want to have opportunities to give these people access to cloud resources like SharePoint or Office 365 and so on, and then you do a migration from premises to the cloud. So there are so many ways you can leverage the cloud. However, within all these different ways to leverage the cloud, there are specific areas you can focus on. So somebody who administers Active Directory or users, devices in the cloud, you can be a system administrator, right? You're still working in the cloud and a little bit of on premises, but you're a system administrator. Somebody who manages provisioning of infrastructure every day, using infrastructure as code, and there are tools within that infrastructure as code, like Terraform, Git, Bicep or ARM templates and all of that can be considered an infrastructure engineer or a cloud infrastructure engineer. Somebody who predominantly works on developing cloud applications can be considered a cloud developer. So there are different ways. So when you are looking at moving to the cloud, you have to also research and focus on a particular area of cloud because the cloud in itself is very broad. You have to fix You have to be focused on a particular area and also focus on a vendor. You cannot be learning AWS today and jump on Azure tomorrow. You get confused. So you have to focus on a vendor and then focus on a particular part within that cloud. We were opportune to work in an environment where we were taught it's just a niche of the cloud. I started cloud Microsoft Azure as an identity engineer, and within this identity, I was only focused on synchronization. So imagine how broad identity itself is in the cloud, and I only focus on just synchronization, just working on moving objects from on premises to the cloud. Then I started learning other areas of the cloud and went to a broader spectrum. So you have to focus on a specific niche, know that one very well, and then before you try other branches of the cloud. Let me quickly talk about DevOps now. Now, we've talked about how things work in the cloud, how you move things to the cloud, and so on. However, we have companies who want to develop in the cloud. For example, you are a system administrator, and remember, the other guy is a cloud developer. Now, as a system administrator, some of the roles that you do kind of like still rubs off on the cloud infrastructure engineer. So most of the time, you do the things of a cloud infrastructure engineer or the things of a system administrator. So let's just leave it at an infrastructure engineer. You were given a task to deploy an application using Terraform, for example, and then after you deploy the underlying infrastructure on the vendor that you are using, your developer is expected to run code on that environment. So now you see that there are two dependencies of two people who have to work for that particular application to run. This is where DevOps comes together. So the development and operation. Traditionally, before now, when a developer works on code, they have to now take that code to infrastructure. Infrastructure now goes to look for a particular server or an environment where that code can run properly. And this can take months or weeks just to provision an infrastructure. But now, since you've merged development and operations together, it becomes easy for the developers to just send his code to you and you run it on the infrastructure. So for you to be a DevOps engineer, you really also need to understand the infrastructure side of it, unless you're just focusing on the dev. But if you are an operations guy, you also need to understand the dev side of it. And if you're on the dev side, you need to understand a little bit of the infrastructure as well. So hence we have DevOps. We can, I'm going to pause here and we can have questions, well-tailored questions from you later on, and we will address all of them. I hope I was able to clarify a bit around
Thank
this.
you. Yeah. Thank you, Kenneth. So we have Fiafia here to take us on UI UX and product design for the next 10 minutes before we go into the webinar section fully. Fiafia, please, you can go ahead.
Hi, everyone. So I'll start by explaining what a product designer is, or who a product designer is. A product designer is responsible for the design and development of a product that meets the user needs and business goals. Now, this part involves a blend of creativity, technical knowledge, and understanding user experience. Now, when I say technical knowledge, it's not there's a saying out there that or there's a debate out there that the product designers need to learn how to code, but not essentially. But for me on my career path, I feel they aid to your design process and design thinking. So it's not having a technical knowledge just gives a bonus to you when you're working in a product. It gives you that if you're considering a digital product or something, because there's a difference between a digital product and product design. So it just gives a very clear understanding on what is needed and what is expected of your products from a design perspective, from a design and development perspective. Product design is not only limited to a particular industry, or should I say just tech. Also mobile, furniture, fashion, and there are lots of industries that one can work on as a product designer. Now, some of the responsibilities of a product designers are user research, prototyping, design iteration, design specification, market analysis. As personally, as a product designer, before I go into any product design or um, um, any task, I basically have three roles. I always ask myself, what's the first one is what the product requires, what is the stakeholder envisioning in the product, and definitely you'll be working with cross-functional team or multidisciplinary teams. So if your design does not correspond with the sphere goals or knowledge of the entire team, um you end up having bottlenecks or ending divisions, which can actually stall the launch of the project, right? And that's what we don't want. The second one is what does your user need, and that's like the top priority on your list. Now it's a common exclusive when people say a product design at the end goal is what user needs. That's always like it's more like a cliche statement. About 50% of that time, or 50% of the time, our designs don't reflect what the user needs or what's best for us. Now, there's a difference between what your user needs, right, and what you need. Now, sometimes it's kind of like conflicting when you're designing a product and you're just focusing on, oh, this thing looks good. To you, it does look good, but what about the other users? What about people that are living with disabilities? How can they interact with your product? What about people that are not tech savvy? How can they interact with your product without seeing your product like something that is very, very cumbersome to understand, and that's where user research comes in, right? So you need to always make your user research. Sometimes you might not be afforded user research, in a company or in an organization you work, but it's essential that you take out time during your product design processes and make user research. Now, user research, you can take like 4 to 8 hours of your time to make user research from the start before you even open the software, use Figma or Adobe or whatever, the card, whatever software you're using for your product design. You need to take 4 to 8 hours first to understand what's the requirements, the business brief, the specification, the guidelines that you're trying to go on following your product design. Then along the line, also that user research does not end on the first phase. Now, as you progress and as you design, you also constantly have to make research and research in the aspect of digital design, going research, understanding how a certain button or how a certain components work. And you don't just probably assume, you need to continuously make findings and research on that. Now, the third one I go for, the third option, the third criteria I always ask myself is, does your design ultimately satisfy the first two? And was your ideas being portrayed effectively? Now, I've met so many designers where you give them a task and you can get them explain it and they know the integrates of everything, but when they design, they don't express their design. The design does not show what the plan for the product. And so that's why you always have to go back, reiterate, reevaluate, and research, and always constantly go back to the first options, which are what the product requires, what the user needs constantly. Now, like I say, there's something that since you want to start off into a product, if in case you want to start off in the product design field, there's something I probably would advise you to do, and that's my create a SMART goal for yourself. Now, SMART goals are: 1, specific. What is it that I'm trying to achieve in this path I'm following? Is it creating a great user experience? My end goal, measurable. The second one is measurable. How will I define success as a product designer? Is it like a personal satisfaction, or is it on money-based satisfaction? Obviously, the first part of your career is going to involve finance and money. You need to make money, like who doesn't like money, but along the line, there's a personal, it starts shifting your passion and your satisfaction to how well your product is doing in the market. Now, the second one is what's attainable. Now, that's attainable. That's what is attainable, achievable? How far can I go with the journey in both long term and short term? What are the resources available for me? Now, the fourth one is relevance. What relevant tools that I am going? What relevant should I use to attaining my goals? Right now, the last one or the sixth one is time bound. And when setting all these processes, you need to estimate or set milestones for yourself. What can I achieve at this particular point in time? What's actually you don't need to overcrowd yourself or overwork yourself on it. It becomes frustrating when you're trying to do so many things at the same time. You're just not consistent or you're not being focused, and that would disrupt your or your design journey. Right now, some career opportunities in tech for designers include product design, user research, content design, digital designers, graphics design, motion design. There are lots of career opportunities when it comes to design. And um, while while you're trying to figure out what path you're on, you need to learn some soft skills. And soft skills are essential in your career development. Now, soft skills include empathy, collaboration, communication, accountability, ability to understand positive and negative feedback, and realizing that they are just stepping blocks for your growth. Now, design thinking as a creative designer or as a product designer, you should be like very step and be a very quick thinker. Now, some soft skills you can use are like Figma, Adobe, Protopie, Illustrator, InDesign, CAD, and there are lots more tools out there. But start with one and see how it's favorable for you, and you progress as you go. Now, it's okay if you're not certain about what career path you want or what path you would actually take in the initial phase, right? Um, 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 but what you need to focus on is how to keep on practicing. And when you get live projects, you get to understand what you want and what you need to do. And at some point, the passion is no longer going to become money, but fulfillment and satisfaction that you need to put the good products out there. Now, for me, one of my career, I always tell the story, sorry to say, but when I realized my passion shift was when I did a digital product for a company, and I saw it in a TV, one of the top 5 TV stations, and having a glimpse, having put in myself or seen my products there or the designs I did there on a big scale, on a large market, on a global market, gave me this internal satisfaction. That's when I realized that money was not only the essential thing I needed, the spots I needed, it's the satisfaction that comes with it. Now, I'd like you to keep pushing yourself, allow yourself to grow. Don't focus on the oppression or the competition out there. Just feel like a motivation station. You will definitely make a stop to it someday. And onto the next you go. So it's not basically about how and when you started, but your final destination. That's what matters. So give yourself some grace to evolve through the process and experiences. Have a good mentor in your path is very essential. Someone you respect and believe will give you honest, creative feedback. So I hope you understand. Thank you for evolving, and I hope you join the train. So thank you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful piece, Fiafia. I think I will start looking at going into UI UX. Okay. We've had discussions from 6 different field in the digital technologies field, and we'll be going live into an interactive section, questions and answers. And after this meeting, I'll be dropping a link, YouTube link on our official pages. That YouTube link is going to have 43 questions and answers that some of the few we're not able to cover today. You can find them on our YouTube link. I'm sure everyone here has different questions, answers, and expectations from this meeting. So I'll be looking at the chat to see if there's any questions and answers. I'll be answering any question from AI and cybersecurity. Kenneth would answer on cloud and DevOps, while Fiafia will take up any questions on product design. So while we are waiting for the questions, I will just take one randomly from what I have here. So this is from AI and machine learning. So the question is, how important is mathematics in AI and machine learning? How important it is? Okay. So in Python or in machine learning, the way machine learning work, or the way deep learning work with algorithms, and they calculate different predictions to actually get a value. Once they get that value, the machine is able to predict if that value is the correct value or not. That's just the simple English on how machine learning or how AI works. So yeah, mathematics like algebra, calculus, statistics, and you need this to understand how AI works under the hood. You can start by learning without mathematics knowledge and gradually improve, but with time you get to learn what I mean by statistics, the probability. You have different evaluation metrics when it comes to machine learning. You have F-score, you have precision metrics, you have, there are so many of them. I don't want to bore you with all the English, but that's one of the questions I have here. I'll also ask one for the product designer. How important is coding knowledge in UI UX design? Yeah, that's for you.
Okay. I always get this question a lot, and I think I pointed it out before, but believe me, I would say as a beginner, it's not really essential, but it's an added skill. And if it's a skill that it's going to aid or make your design processes smooth, why not? Why not learn it? Although it might not, when you mean coding, it might not be essential, like start learning Python or start learning C# or start learning JavaScript or something. But the basic like HTML, CSS is not like a basic. It's something, if you have the knowledge, it actually helps to guide you on your design processes. It actually stops where there's a fight out there where they say product designers always want to finish, always want to kill developers with their crazy ideas and crazy designs. And that's most of the times because of product designers are more focused on artistic in how the product is looking, how it's going to respond, but they don't know the functionality part, how to go about it. So if you have a background knowledge on it and working with a team while designing, your development team while designing, it's going to help you stop the back and forth. So if you don't learn coding in the first place, ensure that while you're designing, to work with a development team or a developer or whoever, trying to get their insight on how certain things work. So you can just leave it like that and start designing a market ahead. You have to bring things easy for everybody, make things easy for yourself and designers and stakeholders and users generally. So I feel it's just another knowledge. If you don't know it, it's fine. Or if you want to learn it, it's a great additional tools.
Thank you. I think, Kenneth, you have one there. Oh, there are so many questions. So let's start with the first one. I think the first one has been answered. How important is coding? The second is, you said a digital project is different from a product design. Can you give me a pictorial example of a product design? I think that's for you again, Fiafia.
Okay. A product designer is someone that designs from every angle, from every walk of life. It can be an automobile. Your smartphone, your smartphone design, your iPhone, Android phones have to go through product design, right? Those are not digital products, they are physical products, and that's part of product design. That's the branch of product design. Now, digital designers are your only focus on digital products, like your websites, your mobile app. That's a role of a digital designer. So most time it's actually conflicting when people say they're all under the same umbrella, but there's a difference. Digital designer focuses on digital products like apps and any digital basically apps, softwares and apps. And while product designers is a general term, and it can be both physical and it can be both digital products. I don't know if that makes that clarifies it.
Okay, I think that does for me, but I think let's go with the next one. Will AI take out some tech jobs in this current tech advancements? The answer is yes. Also, what industry are most in demand for AI professional? Okay, so I'll take the two questions that are there. So AI will take out some tech jobs, yes, but in the same sense, AI might not take out all tech jobs, because if you learn the skills that the job require the AI to do, for example, let's say I'm an infrastructure engineer. My job is to configure servers, set them up for users, and now we have AIs that can do all that. What do I need to do? I need to start learning things like Terraform, DevOps automation, MLOps. That will help me to stay in my job, because, like Kenneth said earlier, if you don't know the infrastructure side of DevOps, then the operation side might have some issues. So as an infrastructure engineer, if I learn how to automate my infrastructure, how to deploy them without doing anything GUI, I can just use my codes to do them, then I'll still remain in my jobs. What industry are most in design for AI professional? I would say all industries are in demand. All industries are in demand. All industries make use of digital technologies. Therefore, all industries are in demand for AI professionals. All you need to do is to streamline your skills to the particular industry. For example, Fiafia is into product design and UI UX. I'm sure there are some AI tools that can help her to design some of our products, design some few UX interface, and predict some few users' behavior. We have emotional intelligence. You have AI that actually predicts human behaviors these days. So she can work with that and remain in a job. So Kenneth, the next one is for you. How can I transform from a non-technical background into cloud computing? I've done only CompTIA A+ in my secondary school. I majored in medical course.
Right. It's a good thing that you've done a CompTIA A+. That means you are a step ahead of other people who do not even have not done that. And I believe CompTIA is very in-depth. It teaches you everything about from how to start. It teaches you the basics of networking, desktop support, customer service, and all of that. So, but transitioning from a non-tech background to cloud involves you knowing some things about how infrastructure work. For example, when you hear people say servers, database, and so on, you kind of like wonder, okay, what is actually a server? But if you're coming from a non-tech background, it will do you so much good to try to get a foundational knowledge within this area, just like you've done for CompTIA Plus. It gives you a strong foundation so that tomorrow, if you're deploying an infrastructure and they say, I would like you to deploy a Cosmos DB, or I would like you to deploy an SQL server, you know exactly what that is without going to ask your manager, what is an SQL server? So, well, however, we have tailored trainings out there. I usually recommend John Saville. You can search him up on YouTube. He is Microsoft staff. He takes very in-depth training on cloud computing, for example. He has this AZ900 course that I took, and it is very, very comprehensive. If you go through that course, you definitely know cloud, even if you choose not to know. You definitely know cloud. So I will advise you to do that. And then what I usually tell people is if you want to learn any skill at all, instead of you just jumping in to pay money to learn that skill, there's something you do first where you prepare your mind for that skill. Instead of you have YouTube, you have Udemy, you can go to Udemy, search for a course and filter for the free ones, and then use that to learn before paying for anything. So, and then the other way that I do it as well is if I want to learn something new, I don't just open my laptop and I start watching it and then, even though it's the free content, and then start doing it. No, I can be cooking, I can be washing, I just keep playing it. I could be in traffic. So first of all, I listen to whatever they're saying without really passively, without really paying attention to it. And then the second time I can listen to it and then pay attention to what the guy is saying or what the instructor is saying. And then the third time is when okay, I'll sit down and then as I'm listening to it, I can try to do what I'm saying. So this way you discover that sometimes you even complete the statements from the instructor without even knowing it. So that's what I would say. If you're coming from a non-tech background, pick a vendor. If it's AWS or if it's Azure, search for John Saville and then go through his AZ900. That's like a fundamental or foundational course in Azure, and then go through everything he's saying, practice that, and you'll be good to go. Yeah.
Thank you. Can you also take the next question? What certification?
Yes. So there's so many certifications that you could take within the parts of you've chosen. So let's say, for example, you are going through the the DevOps side of computing, then you can choose to go and do, first of all, it's better for you to do AZ for 104. It's an Microsoft certification that teaches you everything about Azure. And before then, you can do the AZ 900. Usually it's free. If you go to the Microsoft Learn platform and you want to register for the AZ 900 after taking the John Saville course, you don't have to pay for that. So it gives you this confidence. So you can now use that confidence to do your AZ 104. And after your AZ 104, then you can go for the AZ Z400, right? Yeah. The AZ 400, that is a tailored developer or development course for Microsoft Azure. But before you take any certifications, please make sure that you really understand the content, and not just understand the content, you have practical skills where you have your own test environments, you've practiced all this stuff before registering for the course. Yeah.
Thank you, Kenneth. So just to add to that, I would say for everybody, anybody or everybody that wants to go into either cloud, DevOps, cybersecurity, or anything that has to do with digital technology in the cloud, the first two I would advise is anything that has to do with foundational courses. AZ 900 for Azure. AWS also have their own foundational course. Oracle has their own. So I think I and Kenneth are certified in both Azure, AWS, and Oracle. So if you want to go higher, you can go on to 104. From there, you can then specify in which other field you want to. For me, I'm going into SC, that's for security. Security, I want to be a security architect. So what's the best way to navigate the tech space as well as network with other tech professionals? Yes, the best way I would say is number one, LinkedIn. You have so many people on LinkedIn, you have so many profiles you can view, get to DM those people and work with them on different projects, get a mentor. I think Fiafia mentioned something like that. Another thing is you can also try to do some few research, check for who is the leading people in each of these tech spaces, try to see what they do and how they got there, just to learn more about them, and you can navigate through on how to maybe make yourself more visible. Another example is networking. You've already said that on your question, networking. For example, I've met Kenneth a while ago in Tech Experts, and till today we are still connecting with each other, trying to make sure that we keep our connections on anything cloud or anything network in regard to IT space. Fiafia is also there. Now she has met Kenneth. Three of us will also move ahead to meet other people to network. Another thing I will also say is attending tech events, any IT event, take part in challenges. There's so many IT tech challenges in digital space. Microsoft Ignite. There's so many, so I can't list them all. Kenneth, this is for you again. Difference between IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, couple other services like DaaS. What are the core services I need to know first while learning? Well, before Kenneth answer, I will also ask this person to also go and do some more research, use your Google, because everything you just ask here online. But Kenneth, you can go ahead.
Right. So first of all, to answer your question, you need to understand the responsibility model. So in our last training, we talked about responsibility model. So you work for a company that requested that they want to deploy to the cloud, and you went to meet a vendor, let's say Microsoft, and you need to understand where your work starts and where Microsoft work starts. So there's a responsibility model that says if you're coming here as for IaaS services, infrastructure as a service, um, from here to here, this is where my work starts. So I deploy the underlying infrastructure, the networking, the security, the patching, and then you just come on top of that underlying infrastructure, and then you deploy your code. So for example, if I go to Azure and I deploy a virtual machine, that virtual machine is a physical instance in a Microsoft environment. So, but to me, it's a virtual machine. To Microsoft, there's a physical instance somewhere out there that I'm using. And now there's underlying infrastructure, for example, now there is a virtual network there, there is there is networking, for example, there is storage for that virtual machine, and there is a physical hardware. But I'm only concerned about the Windows, my applications on that VM, and so on. Now, so infrastructure as a service is where you just have to come and deploy your operating system and your applications on that particular resource. Then for software as a service, you really do not deploy anything. It's already custom made. For example, Microsoft Office 365 is already there. You can choose to drag and drop how you want it, or you can choose to leave it the way it is and just go ahead to use it. You're not deploying any code. You're not deploying configuring networking for it, and it's plug and play for you. So, and then platform as a service, this is where you have services like app service, web applications, or function apps and all of that. And what happens is you only bring your code. You have no business with the underlying infrastructure. You just bring your code and you run on it. So, for example, your development team has finished writing the code for an application, and they give it to you as the operation side of DevOps, and you run this in your pipeline. It goes straight to the app service that you've deployed, and that's it. You don't have to worry about the patching of the app service. You don't have to. In fact, app service itself has an inbuilt backup mechanism. You don't have to worry about how to back it up, how to patch it. All you have to worry about is a little bit of settings about the IAM side, who needs access to it, who doesn't need access to it, what key vaults it needs to connect to, and so on. So the IaaS, the platform as a service or software as a service, works with the responsibility model where your own work starts and where the vendor works ends or
Stops.
starts as well, or
Yeah.
stops. Yeah.
Thank you,
And
Kenneth.
then the DaaS stands for desktop as a service, for example. So recently you see a lot of companies are employing offshore team members. So companies are, for example, employing people in remote areas like Nigeria or India, where for cheap labor purposes, basically, you do not want to send physical devices to those remote areas. So you end up using desktop as a service, things like AVDs, things like Cloud PC or dev boxes. So let me stop here because we are running out of time here.
Thank you, Kenneth. Next one for Fiafia. What should be included in a UX UI portfolio?
So for me, I would say depending on the field you're applying for, or depending on your specialty. Now, most people always focus on user research. Now, there are sometimes you'll have I think lots of portfolio where 50% of the portfolio is just grammar, a whole lot of grammar, user research, and I'm like, okay, as a designer, or if I'm looking at if I need to employ someone, I just want to see your products or what you design, the features of the product, and how the unique thing about the product and your product life cycle and all that. I don't need to see the long statements of user research, which I know most of the time user research they're just fabricated like they're not really something that you actually go and meet different users. It's just concocting some user research or something, but you can keep that as a minimum. To keep, you can have that user research, keep it as a minimum, try to be authentic as possible. Your product life cycle, the unique features of your product, and more especially, you can have pictures or you can have videos showcasing what the product is. Probably maybe the product is not launched yet, so you can just have an illustration or an animation of the product, or a motion design of the product, or interactive design of the product, of the product you're actually working on. Then maybe probably when it's launched. I know most of the times product designers don't like putting the end product because sometimes the developers can just design how they feel like. So I would say on the safe side, put more of your interactive design, your videos, had some videos, and some screenshots of your designs. Let your designs be focused on not really the website, just giving it a vague knowledge, vague should I say, oh, this is my product, and if you click on the link, you will see the product says that's essential. But because you don't know how whomever is going to assess your portfolio is going to interpret what is saying online, So it's best to design put your iterations, put your motion designs, everything on your portfolio. Maybe you can create a website for it, right? Or probably create a PowerPoint, then put a link of where your design iterations and also put evidences like your the software you use, like probably Figma or Adobe SD, have a screen to show that okay, you actually did this work. It's not something you just grabbed online or something. So that is what if I'm someone that is recruiting, if I'm looking after I'm looking at your portfolio, that's the one thing I'll look. These are the ones thing I'll look at first. And I don't know that answer the question.
Thank you, Fiafia. Okay, I think our time is fast spent. We just plan to use just 1 hour for today. I know there are still lots and lots of questions, and I've taken it upon myself to put in a list of over 43 questions and answers. This is our only way of giving back to the community and trying to make sure that we raise an awareness for the digital cloud space and help our colleagues, our friends, our youths in both in Nigeria and in diaspora in the United Kingdom and everywhere, anybody that is watching this, to be able to get aware of these digital technologies and how you can take part in it. It's actually free. You can just go onto our YouTube page, you find the link, you find this video, and if you have any more questions, you can reach out to me. I'm the CEO of Chunk Cloud Technologies, and Kenneth Osim here is the CEO of Enphonex. And we have Fiafia also working side by side with both of us. And if you have any more questions, any more, if you need some mentorship, we also offer that as part of our portfolio, part of our programs. And we'll be looking forward to any other sections on digital space and how we can also help in onboarding new technologies, people in the community. Thank you. Kenneth, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you very much for organizing this. There's so many things I didn't know, for example, about product design.
Yeah, same here.
That was able to explain that. And just like you said, we need to go to LinkedIn and network more. And there's so many professionals on LinkedIn that we can always reach out to and ask questions and then engage in content. That's it.
Thank you. Fiafia, do you have anything to say also before we go?
Just if you have any issues with design and you want someone to have a first eye on the specifically in design or anything, I'm very much open. I love mentoring and I'm very much open to helping your career path. So feel free to reach out to me on any of my social platforms and I'm answering it.
Thank you, Fiafia. All right, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you and bye.